Any NFL fan will tell you that their team has the best stadium in the NFL. And with the exception of a couple stadiums, most of them are pretty good. However, someone has used AI to try and recreate every NFL stadium newer and better than before. Today I'll be ranking all 32 NFL stadiums reimagined by AI. Starting off first, we have the horrible stadiums. Legitimately, my 2-year-old cousin could probably have done better than this. All the way at the bottom is the Rams. I mean, one big wave and the whole stadium is gone. This thing's gonna be going down faster than Rams fans' spirits when their team changed their colors up. I know I would not want to be in that stadium. Second up, we got the Titans, and I honestly like the idea of a guitar, but what's going on the other side of the stadium? Why are there 10,000 people just staring into an empty pit? I definitely think this could have been pulled off better, so an A for effort, however, I'm gonna have to leave it down here. Then we have the 49ers, and I don't really know what the AI's thought was with the stadium. Like, we know San Francisco's famous for the Golden Gate Bridge, so why don't we just, put a football stadium right in the middle of the bridge? My friend Terry's just going to be sitting at a 49ers game, and all of a sudden an 18-wheeler is going to fly over his head and crush a family of 4 sitting in front of him, just because nobody thought to reroute the highway. And then we have the Indianapolis Colts. My question with this is, why is there a track around the field? This is the NFL, not a high school football team. Seriously, tell me why I would need a pair of binoculars to see the field if I'm sitting in the front row behind the end zone. This is just a terrible design, and honestly, the guy who asked AI to do this should have just discarded this one and looked for a better idea, because I have no idea what's going on here. After that, we have the major flaw stadiums. Each of these are decent in their own respects, but they just have one major issue that leaves them this far down on the list. Beginning with the Seahawks, the flaw here is pretty obvious, and that is that this is not at all possible. This stadium would collapse under its own weight, and although I like the idea that they're trying to take Seattle's famous building and put a football stadium in it, it's just not going to work. If they did manage to figure out how to do this, props to them, but at this moment, I can't rate it like these other stadiums. After that, we have the Green Bay Packers, and what is going on in this one? Why does it look like the movie Field of Dreams? Tell me why the stadium is out in the middle of a cornfield. I know Green Bay is a small town, but give it some respect, man. After that is the Browns, and this stadium is honestly pretty similar to the stadium they have now, which I don't have a huge problem with. But at the same time, where's the creativity? I guess even AI can't really generate a solution to solve Cleveland's problems. Well, I guess that is other than isolating the stadium from the rest of Cleveland, which honestly was not a bad idea. Following that is the Patriots, and what am I even looking at right now? Why is the American Revolution taking place outside of the stadium? Is it because this is the only good thing to ever come out of Boston? Or is this just like a display of how Patriots fans are reacting to their franchise falling off? After that is the Cowboys, and this is honestly just the same stadium that they have now, except they have a little boomtown placed outside. I guess this does kind of resemble the effort that Jerry Jones puts into his franchise, so maybe AI was onto something here. Next up, we have the basic stadiums. These stadiums don't have anything wildly upsetting about them, but they just lack the effort that would bump them up on this list. Starting off with the Washington Commanders, no matter what the stadium looks like, they could use a new one, so I'm already down for the idea. However, I think this falls short of the expectations for an NFL stadium in 2025, and I really just don't think it's anything special. Next is the New York Giants, and it's similar to their current stadium as of right now, except it's in front of the Empire State Building, because who needs parking for an NFL game anyway? I guess people are just going to have to walk there like they do in Chicago, which we all know people are a big fan of that. So obviously the stadium is not going to move up any higher. Then we have the Denver Broncos, pretty much the same stadium they have now, except it's out in the middle of the mountains, which is a pretty cool backdrop, but honestly the whole thing's just kind of forgettable like the Broncos franchise, and so it's going to stay here on this list. After that's the Chargers, and I like the idea of an oceanfront stadium, but those tiny support beams are going to crumble under the weight of that venue. If they could pull it off, it'd be a decent stadium, but it's nowhere near as good as what they have now. Following that is the Carolina Panthers. This is once again just their current stadium, but out in the middle of a forest. Some more lackluster effort, but there's nothing inherently wrong with it, so I'll keep it here. Then we have the Chicago Bears, and keyword Chicago on that, because I don't know where this is supposed to be, but there is not a hill that size in the state of Illinois. On the upside, this stadium is much better than the train wreck they've got going right now, but it's just very unrealistic. That's why it falls right behind the Detroit Lions. Similarly with the Detroit Lions, I don't know where you're going to find a place like this in Detroit. And even if you did, I mean, yeah, sure, let's just introduce some wild lions to Detroit of all cities in the US. I'm sure that's going to go over well. And somehow the worst part about this whole stadium is the open top stadium in Detroit of all places. It is going to be a rough winter there. Next up on the list, we have the good stadiums. They're decent, but they're not in that top tier like we're looking for. Starting us off is the Cincinnati Bengals, and the bowl itself is definitely a step up from what they play in now. And I like the idea of a stadium being surrounded by a forest. I don't know if you could find one necessarily looking like this in Cincinnati, but the vibe definitely matches the Bengals' nature. After them is the Buffalo Bills, and everything about this stadium is great. I like how they're on a little isolated island in the middle of a river, it looks like. However, what is going to happen when December rolls around and it is 10 degrees outside in Buffalo? That river is going to turn to ice like that one Buffalo kicker and destroy that tiny little island like that kicker did to Buffalo fans' dreams. This design is going to be about as unproblematic as Buffalo Bills running backs in retirement. After that, we have the New York Jets, and I'm not going to lie, an aircraft carrier is a fire design for an NFL stadium, but the logistics just don't make any sense. Even if a ship bigger than Breece Hall's forehead is possible to build, it would suck playing football on it. Everyone from Justin Tucker to Cody Parkey would be making a 90-yard field goal going one direction, but you try and kick the other direction, and everyone's going to be looking like Cody Parkey. I guess you could try and fix this by moving the goalposts up into the end zone, move it a little closer, which honestly might help the Jets get back to the postseason because that's where the goalposts were the last time they made a Super Bowl appearance. Following them, we have the Jaguars, and I like how this stadium is a little more possible to build, being that it's in Florida and you could probably replicate this climate a little better than in Cincinnati or Detroit. But with that being said, it does appear as if there are 3 tiny rowboats in place to shuffle more than 65,000 people across the river before each and every game. I mean, I guess the stadium's not really going to be filling anywhere near capacity, so maybe this could work out, but I think it might take a couple more rowboats than that. After that, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and I like the initial look of the stadium until I saw the open-top roof. I mean, while I'm pretty sure Minnesota doesn't actually look like an Arctic North Pole, I would still hate to sit in the open in Minnesota just to watch a Vikings football game. I mean, I guess their fans already hate watching their games anyway, so maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I'm going to leave it down here on this list. Now we have the great stadiums. These are some of the better ones from this list that I would honestly want to go see a football game in. Beginning with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I am actually going to take back what I just said about this one. I would think there's only about a 50% chance of survival in this stadium, but I guess for the Raiders fan base, they can probably handle it. For real though, imagine playing here. Home field advantage would go crazy. After that, we have the Arizona Cardinals, and I actually like the idea of putting it in the middle of the Grand Canyon. That would make for some great scenery. And honestly, I like the idea of just having their same stadium but with an open top roof. They could really do that in Arizona where it's nice and warm for a lot of the season. I think it would actually be a great touch, and I really don't have anything bad to say about this stadium. Just in front of them is the Chiefs, and this is actually a sick idea. Having the stadium being half covered by a roof is a great way to keep it sort of an outside stadium while also covering people from the weather. And being able to do it with a historical nod to the Native American population with that tent design would just tie it all together. But just better than that is the Saints. I like the route that the AI took in mixing the Superdome with the Notre Dame Cathedral, it looks like. There wasn't too much done, so it kind of still has the same vibe as what they have now, but it definitely looks a lot better with these added features. It's a much cleaner look all around, and I would love to go see a game here. Then we have the Miami Dolphins, and this stadium, while not as cool as their old one, looks like a blast on game day. But now I'm thinking, is there no high tide in Miami? I mean, for real, this stadium is sitting 6 feet above sea level. You wouldn't want the stadium to drown faster than their season, right? Following that is the Houston Texans. Now this is a good stadium. Not only does it look incredible, but it's actually reasonably realistic, unlike a lot of the options we've had on this list. And you just know the other team's going to be trembling in their seats on the bus ride as they drive in for a primetime game. Great scenery, a great stadium. I would definitely want to go to a game here. However, just in front of them is the Steelers because they are straight playing in the middle of a steel plant. I'm kind of getting Lucas Oil Field vibes from this stadium, but almost a step up. I like to imagine that these pillars of smoke blow out after every touchdown too, which would be a nice touch to the atmosphere. And finally, we have the Atlanta Falcons. It was a tall task for AI to improve the already nice stadium that they have now, but this design definitely does the job. It looks pretty futuristic, and the only problem I really have at this point is the Falcon logo that takes up 75% of the field. Oh, and I guess also no matter which way you come from, you're probably going to have to cross the street with cars going 80 miles per hour each direction, which probably won't end up well on multiple occasions, but you know, it's still a cool idea. And now we are down to the top 3 stadiums on this list. At number 3, we have the Buccaneers. I thought it was cool when the Bucs just had a pirate ship in their stadium, but the stadium being a pirate ship, that is just the next level. I really wish this was physically possible because this would be a sick stadium to play in, and it looks like the stadium seats will actually block a lot of the wind here, which could help with the gameplay. And I just want to imagine what it would look like below deck when you're going to get some popcorn at halftime. I feel like they could design the whole inside to look like a pirate ship. They could even have a trophy room in there that was like the treasure of the ship, and that would just bring out the childhood of everyone there. With that being said, at number 2, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. What really drives its design is the simplicity of the idea. I mean, of course, just make the stadium look like a nest for birds. It works out really well. The stadium is a good blend of indoors and outdoors. It's got holes in the sides so that the wind can blow through, but it's also got a roof that'll protect from the weather. So for that, this stadium will stay at number 2. And at number 1, we will have the Baltimore Ravens. This is almost a Lambeau Field-esque stadium with the brick exterior that blends well with the purple color, but it also has the NFL feel on the inside with the newer seats rather than the iron seats like Lambeau Field has. This is also the one AI stadium on this list that has a blend of waterside access and landside access, because too much water access will mess with the amount of people that can get in, and too much land access just doesn't look as good. And also this path alongside the stadium looks like a great place to hang around before the games. The stadium looks cool, it's realistic, and it's even financially sensible, I think. Honestly, the Ravens are probably going to have a better home field advantage in the 2026 season just because this stadium exists in someone's mind. So those are my rankings of all 32 AI-generated NFL stadiums. If you disagreed with any of my picks, tell me in the comments down below, and be sure to share your opinions on the matter. If you did enjoy this video, please do consider subscribing. Either way, be sure to check out some of these other videos on your screen now.